Hello and welcome to the Ramblings of a 42-year-old man. I am Chris Smith here with David Smith again.
Hello.
And we're going to do a little bit of a Super Bowl preview episode today. Woo! So I think most people will know Super Bowl this year. What is it, 54, 55?
56, I think.
56? Yeah. Whichever one it is. Super Bowl something. It's happening tomorrow. 7:30 is when the actual game starts, but I'm sure there'll be coverage all day long, like there usually is, between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And we are just going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the two teams, our picks to win, some of our players of the games, and just kind of talk through it a little bit.
Yep. All right, so we're going to start first of how both teams got into the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, both teams were the number one seed on each side, the AFC and NFC number one seeds.
Both of them were the same records in the regular season and the postseason combined. They're the same records.
Mm-hmm. They also had, same points scored overall, and very evenly matched team when it comes to the numbers. But so Kansas City, they had the bye week for the wild card round, and then they play Jacksonville.
They played Jacksonville.
Who hung in there with them for a little bit, but Casey
Patrick
was able to pull
Mahomes
away.
got hurt in that game.
Yeah, high ankle sprain for Mahomes. Chad Henne came in for a little bit, but they were able to pull that off. I think they managed to win by 7. Was it 27-20 or something like that?
I think it was like 31-20.
31-20. Anyway, they managed to pull that one off. The wild card round again for Philly, since they also were the number one seed, they got the bye week that week, and then they ended up playing the Giants.
The Giants, they got smoked, 38-7.
So yeah, they beat the Giants pretty big, pretty
they
heavily.
And then they beat the 49ers heavily.
Yep, and then the conference championship, as David said, the 49ers and the Eagles, and they beat them pretty heavily too. So for the Philadelphia, they've kind of romped their way into the Super Bowl. Kansas City, after getting past Jacksonville, they played against...
Jacksonville, and then they did Cincinnati.
Cincinnati got
which
rematch
was a really close game. If the referees were better, I think it would have gone Cincinnati's way.
Yeah, so Kansas City kind of had close games to get in. Philadelphia swept through their teams pretty easily to get where they are. Again, evenly matched on paper, and so that's kind of where they came from. So what do we want to talk about with the teams?
So the teams, it's kind of based on if the defenses. So the Eagles have obviously a better defense than the Chiefs. So I think that's going to be the game changer. I think the Eagles are going to win by 6 points.
Yeah, Eagles by far the better defense of the two. Both pretty strong offenses. Obviously, Kansas City has a amazing passing offense with Patrick Mahomes, just recently announced MVP, his second time. And but that being said, on the other side, you've got Jalen Hurts, and the Philadelphia offense is playing really well as well with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, running the ball well with Miles Sanders, and of course Hurts adds a dimension to the run game that, not saying Mahomes is slow, Mahomes can run the ball a little bit too, but not to the extent that Hurts can. So that kind of maybe lean a little bit offensively towards Kansas City, but then, as David said, when you get on the defensive side of the ball, really, other than Chris Jones on Kansas City, it's hard to find a real star on the KC's defense, where on the Eagles, you got a lot of good players on the Eagles defense. Hassan Reddick had 16 sacks this year. 3 other of their defensive linemen had 10-plus sacks this year, including Hargrave.
Josh Sweat, you got Hassan Reddick.
Brandon Graham, I think, was the other
Brandon
one.
Graham, too.
So, I mean,
and
a lot
of
defensive
their linebackers
players
getting over 150 tackles.
Yeah.
Which is by far a lot. I think T.J. Edwards, their middle linebacker, is number 1 in tackles this season.
I believe it. So, usually, especially when you get into the playoffs and the Super Bowl, defenses can win championships. We've seen that lots and lots of times. So, I'm kind of with David. I'm kind of thinking the Eagles may have this one too. I am pulling for the Eagles. I would like to see them win, and I do think on paper they have the better chance. They have the better team. All right, so we're going to talk next about our players of the game. Let's do 3 each. So, what's your number 3 player of the game?
My number 3 player of the game. I can't go wrong here. It's gonna be Travis Kelce.
Yep.
It's not gonna matter. Travis Kelce's always top 3. It doesn't even matter if he has a bad game or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's always top 3.
Yeah. How about your number 2?
Number 2, I got Hassan Reddick from the Eagles, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Having a really good game, sacking and forced fumbling Patrick Mahomes. And number 1, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Yep. Yeah. If Hurts has himself a game, Eagles be in good shape. Good call. All right. Well, let me do my three. I may have doubled up on some of David's, so I'm going to try to do some new ones. So I think for me, I'll go number 3 would be. Trying to think of a KC receiver who will step up. Valdez Scantling. I think Mahomes needs a consistent receiver to be able to get to in this game, and I haven't seen it from Juju this year. I haven't seen it from McCole Hardman. Valdez Scantling in the playoffs anyway has been able to do some things. So I'm gonna say that he really needs to. We know Kelsey again, number 3 for you. He's gonna have a game more than likely, and even if they shut down Kelsey, Mahomes is gonna need some help on the receiving side. Number 2 for me is going to be the. You already did Reddick, so I'm going to say Hargrave, shoring up that defensive middle for Philadelphia. If he can put pressure up through the middle, you got Reddick coming up on the outside, pressure on Mahomes, equals a win for the Eagles, I think. So that's number 2 for me.
He has to improvise like against Tampa Bay did.
Yep. And then my number 1 is going to go hand in hand with Mr. Kelsey for you, TJ Edwards. That middle linebacker is probably going to get called on to shadow Kelsey sometimes. He's going to be covering that middle of that field where Kelsey likes to make his money at. So T.J. Edwards, I think, will be kind of, if he can get Kelsey contained, again, that pushes Mahomes on the receiver side, which if none of them step up, that's going to make it harder for KC. So that's our top players, and want to finish this off with any final thoughts?
Yep. My final thoughts, I'm going to say who I think is going to be the Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
What's going to be my offensive player of the game and my defensive player of the game.
Okay.
So first, I'm going to start at defensive player of the game. Give me T.J. Edwards from the Eagles. And offensive player of the game, give me A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown, all right.
And as my Super Bowl MVP, I got Jalen Hurts.
Nice. So we're going with an Eagles win in that thought, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to do both. I'm going to pretend what I think would happen for both teams to win. How about that?
All right.
So for me, let's say KC wins. I think your MVP, Mahomes, for sure.
Obviously.
I think your offensive player, if they are able to win, their offensive player is probably Kelsey.
Yep.
And on defense, Chris Jones.
He needs to have a game to get to Hurts.
Yeah, he had an amazing game against Cincinnati. If he can continue that over, he'll be in good shape. On the Eagles side, I'm with you on Edwards. So for me, for defense, I'm going to go ahead and go with Reddick. I'm going to say hopefully he gets himself a couple sacks. Maybe he's able to pop a fumble out of Mahomes. So I'm going to go with Reddick for defensive player of the game. Offensive player of the game, I'm going to put my offensive player of the game and my MVP, and this might surprise you, Miles Sanders. I think if they can get a running game going against Kansas City, keep that Kansas City offense off the field and just run the ball through Miles Sanders, and Jalen Hurts obviously will get some runs in there too. But Miles Sanders has a 100-plus yard day, 25-plus carries. Eagles definitely win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Any final thoughts?
Nope. That's it for the Super Bowl video. Drop a like and subscribe for more content.
Absolutely.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Everybody enjoy the game.